So it was a really great experience for me, because I had never won anything from writing, or and when you do win something for something that you do from your heart and from your soul, it means more than anything.
I'm going to bring our first guest in, Mr. Winsphere Jones. And I was asking you earlier, I wanted to make sure I was saying your name correctly.
You are saying it correctly.
Yay! It's disrespectful when you don't ask and you just keep saying a person's name wrong.
No,
So I
you're
want to
you're
make sure I
saying
get
it.
it
You're
right.
you're saying it right. A lot of people, they start off with Winper. So you came off first time just right.
Awesome, awesome. So how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm just getting over some. We had a flood here in this area, and we've
Oh,
been out helping. Yeah, we've been out helping the people from the flooding areas of the Savannah, Chatham County area, and
yes.
it's been kind of tough, but I think the waters are receding and we're getting over it.
Good.
So
So now you are an author, but I believe you're also doing some other things like acting, producing.
yes, I've been a playwright. I've been writing plays for about maybe 25 years now. So I started when I was in college. I went to Valdosta State University, and
Okay.
which used to be a women's college, and then they became, well, they got to the point where men and women went, and then it got to a point where African Americans were going. So I came in kind of like at the moment when the black people start going, and and through that experience, I tell you, you'll never learn more about the world when you go to a school where maybe you shouldn't have been, but you're there now, and
Mm,
you begin to see the world outside of the little small town that you were born in, and people will treat you accordingly to the way the world really is.
amen.
And is where and I would say for me, college is where I kind of learned who I was going to be in the world. And when I began writing plays, it was more of a purging of emotions and feelings and things that had happened to me in my whole life, and I just kind of start putting them together in words. Because I originally I was supposed to go to college to be an artist, um,
Hmm.
and do paintings and drawings, and but I ended up focusing more on history and writing and um, philosophy.
Now, how many plays have you produced so far?
Since college, and I'll count the ones that I did in college because they were kind of like really grinding, kind of learning who you are, kind of. So I'll count those, but I would say about 25 to 30.
Wonderful.
And
And you're award winning now.
yes, when I started winning the awards, I started going to different festivals, and I was always invited to the Atlanta Black Theater Festival, and
Yes.
I was invited there for a few years in a row, and I was, you know, and they treated me really well when I went there, and I won for best director for one play, best overall play, and then we were a special guest at one point, one year that they had the festival. Well, what I was going to say was that um, my former name that I went under before I won the awards was just my name that I was born under, which was Tim Lee. But when I became Winsphere Jones and became that writing name, that's when everything really changed for me, and I really found the voice that I wanted to write for or write through, um, that I knew would be the one to kind of carry me to another level. And then sometimes you still got to go back to that old school where you come from voice,
Yeah.
but the new voice that I created was one that helped me to take my imagination as far as I wanted it to go, and not just from where I know. Sometimes we get caught up in writing only what we know, and never let our
Right.
imaginations take us farther than just like, the stories we can tell that everybody can pretty much tell. So I had to recreate the history in order to do that. So what I did was I had to first go back and do a whole historical rewrite of America. And
Okay.
we talked today about multiverses and all this type of stuff. This is exactly what I had to do. I had to create a whole new universe where America was not um, taken over by the need for slaves. That the slaves did revolt, they did win, they did fight back, and now
Yeah.
we still have ties with England, but now we're businessmen with this thing now. We're not,
Yeah. Okay.
and so in that recreation of America, you had now you have an opportunity to have everybody start off on the same footing, and I could write my characters in this Edwardian world where they had pride in, and they could become police officers, they could become detectives, they could become doctors and lawyers, and they were, the whole thing about racism didn't have to be what the story was about,
Right.
but it was about the people and their struggles as human beings, and not just the black people, but everybody else.
Exactly.
So
Now, this
it
is the
get
premise for Black Crows, correct?
well, the premise for the Legends of the Black Crows is pretty much it's a detective story. In
Okay.
this time period that we're speaking about, late 1800s, a man by the name of Josephia Blackstone has been given the power to touch the dead and tell their last moments of life and what was happening to them, how they died. And the police always want to use that guy to come in and like solve the mystery for us because we can't. So he comes in as the hero for the police, but oftentimes is the murder cannot be solved so easily just because he touches the body and can see certain things in the scene. It always comes with him needing help from other people.
Mhm.
I hate those stories where the detective in the story is like he's the smartest guy. No, he's not the smartest guy, and he has many flaws. Um, because even though he sees and feels what other people cannot, he still needs the help of all the other people in his life in order to solve some of these heinous crimes. Um, but the book is the reason it's called Legends of the Black Crow because within this, him trying to solve the mystery of a um, of a legend about a crow, you learn about all the real legends about the crow that we have in our own real history, and he
Mm.
kind of and how they're all connected to each other in some way. And
Yes.
if you go and look up anything about a crow, there's in every culture there's going to be a different meaning to what the black crow is, and he dances around finding out all those different legends in order to solve the mystery within the book.
Okay. Well, it's okay to do it yourself. But I'll say the key is to do it professionally. So
Right.
that way nobody can ever distinguish your book from a traditionally published book.
Exactly.
It'll still be well written, it'll still be well presented. And it seems like that's what you've done with this book.
Well, I try my best to make sure that as a self-publishing, a person who's self-published, I, I try my best, and you can always do better. You're always going to flip through your work and go, I can do that. I can change that. I can say this different. I can do that. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
always want to change. Your book is always evolving in your mind, but sometimes you got to let it go and move on to the next project and just do better the next time as well. Learn from your mistakes of your first and keep going, because they do it in other places. They do it too. It's not just for all the people who are watching. It's not just you. It happens to everybody, even Stephen King. Okay.
This is true. I want to thank you for joining me tonight, and thank you for sharing your story with me. I
Well,
look forward to working with you more. I hope this won't be the last time we talked with each other.
I don't think so. I mean, I feel so. It feels easy to talk to you. You made it a
Well, thank
comfortable
you.
environment, and we could talk. We could go on for another 30 minutes. But whenever you want me to come back on, you just let me know.
All right. I'm holding you to that.